What's good, y'all? Elvis here, back again with another episode of Better Barbering. For people that don't know, Better Barbering is a series that I started where I share tips and tricks that made me a better barber, that other people use to make them better barbers, and ideally better people. So obviously, I'm a professional barber, but there was a period of time where I was really down my path, and now I'm also realizing that even if I identify as a barber, that is just a singular label. That doesn't describe me as an individual, all my different gifts, talents, and other things that I aspire for. And right now I'm going through a process of kind of rebranding myself because I want to do other things like, let's say, business consulting. I want to make music. I'm pursuing a bunch of different arts and crafts. So calling myself a barber doesn't feel like it does me justice anymore, especially when I'm trying to talk to and introduce myself to people outside of my barbering business and that I don't care to bring into my barbering business. You feel me? So today I got a list of 5 signs that you're not supposed to be a barber. Now keep in mind that this list is not fully comprehensive, and just because 1 or 2 of these things fit you and your career does not necessarily mean you're not supposed to be a barber as far as drop the clippers, hang the shit up. It could just mean that the label of being a barber doesn't fit you, because we're all bigger than the labels that we try to describe ourselves with. Number 1 sign you're not supposed to be a barber. The most obvious, you don't like cutting hair. If you're not doing things that you appreciate, it's hard for other people to appreciate what you do. There's a lot of times I'm doing consultations with barbers or just kicking game with them, and they say something like, I just want clients that pay me like they pay you, because my price is above average and it's inflated, you know what I'm saying? They're like, I want people to pay me like you. But when I talk to them, or even if I'm observing them cutting hair, I can tell that they don't like this shit. And you don't have to like every aspect of your craft, you know what I'm saying? With everything that you want, there's gonna be something that you don't want or you want less of. And that's important to pay attention to over time. But if you're stuck in something that you don't like doing, you're not gonna be generous with your energy investment. And then if you're not being generous with your energy investment, people aren't gonna be generous back with you. People are generous with me as far as money, time, and energy because I leave it all on the field because they can tell I love what I do. There's a subtle difference between someone being nice because they're trying to sell you something and get something off you versus they're being kind because they're doing what they love and they're sharing it with you. It's kind of like interacting with a waitress. A lot of times there's going to be a bunch of smiles and friendly gestures because they want a tip. But once you're firmly doing something that you love and you feel purpose in, the money, the monetary compensation is secondary. You don't think about it as much because you're getting paid off your level of fulfillment, and then the money is a bonus. And that's when people really want to invest in you because they see you investing in yourself. Number 2 sign you should not be a barber. You feel trapped in a box. Not to project on anybody how things should be, because I don't believe in should. I believe in what is and what it will be. Before I ever really got involved in barbering, I was in school for chemical engineering. And I was doing that because it made sense. It was something that also sparked my interest in very specific ways. And I saw myself growing in that as well as making a boatload of money. But when I started cutting hair and getting into barbering, I started realizing like, oh, well, technically off gate, let's say straight out of school, engineering gonna make more, assuming I get a job. But whatever I do, I'm that guy because I only do what I love personally. But yeah, so barbering straight out the gate was not going to make as much money. I knew with barbering, I had the agency to create whatever I wanted to, even if it didn't happen right away. I wasn't trapped in any specific box. With barbering, I got out what I put in. And I knew that if I put it all on the field and I get better over time, and I'm committed to being better over time, the only thing confining my potential would be me. Barbering doesn't necessarily mean that for everybody. Some people pick it up as a hobby. Some people pick it up as just a bag move. But if you feel trapped in whatever you're doing, regardless if it's the shit to somebody else and it makes somebody else's dream come true, if you're trapped, then that's your cue to grow past what you're doing or evolve to another level. A lot of times the skills you build within your barbering season, you could just rinse and repeat that in a different industry. The skills as a barber are infinitely applicable. Haircutting is very specific to hair, you know what I'm saying? But barbering versus haircutting, barbering is more about the relationship with a client. It's about learning people. And if you can understand people, you can understand business. And that spreads to any other medium of interacting with people because there's always being value traded. Usually business is just focused on financial value being traded. But if you understand people and the energy transactions that happen between people, you can apply the lessons you learn in barbering to literally all the interactions you have as a human being on this planet. So if you feel like you're in a box, that just means you're exercising these skills in an area that doesn't spark you, where your growth potential is limited. Number 3 sign, you're not supposed to be a barber. You feel a different calling. For a lot of people, barbering wasn't necessarily a calling. It was just a bag move, a means to an end. That's fine. But that's still a calling on whatever level it is. It might not be the thing that you feel like God put you here to do specifically, but I guarantee you it was a stepping stone in the direction for what that's supposed to be. And that's going to change in different seasons as you evolve. Like when I first started cutting hair, I felt called artistically to learn the skill of cutting hair. And I was a great hair cutter, but I was a shitty barber. Barbering is all about the relationship with the clients. My soft skills as far as interacting people was trash. I was coming from a STEM background. I like understanding math and science and applications to the real world. You know what I'm saying? I don't care too much about interacting with people. And also, engineering is basically the art of problem solving. So I was very creative, but I didn't identify with being a creator, an artist. So when I started getting into barbering, I started identifying more with my art. Pretty soon I got to a point where I realized the weak points that I have when it comes to interacting and communicating with people is putting up a wall for my growth. If I don't grow past this level of communication with people, it's gonna limit my ability to, first off, do more haircuts, grow the business, but also if I can't communicate with people, outside of just doing better haircuts, I can't even learn as well. I can't learn as efficiently. So if you feel a different calling, a lot of times it might feel like because I spent all this time over here and now I'm pivoting to go over here, that there was time and energy lost. But realistically, the dog that you build in this season just gets recycled into the dog you build in this season. How you do one thing is how you do everything, especially if you're doing it from a place of wanting to find growth and fulfillment in it. So it also reminds me of a consultation, or I wasn't a consultation, it was just a conversation I was having with bro. And he's a barber, and he's good at cutting hair, and he's been doing it for a while. He lives off it well. But I remember I was talking to him about barbering, and I just kind of noticed his energy was kind of like, yeah. It's exciting when you first get into it because, this is new, it's exciting, but anything you do becomes normal. So it's not as shiny, and I can understand. This got old pretty quick, and then I had to learn to find different areas I wanted to grow within it to refresh it for myself. But he was talking about barbering, and he was kind of like, yeah, it's this and that, like it's cool, blah, blah, blah. And I just kind of was fishing around. I was asking like, yo, what are your interests and other things? And he was kind of like, I don't really do much, this and that, and da, kind of dodging it. He kind of subtly dropped a hint about like acting or just getting into theater and stuff. And it was a very small part of the conversation. It was maybe a few seconds, but I saw a spark in his eye. He didn't smile and was over the top about it, but I could sense his energy changed when he started talking about that. And I was like, oh, nah, run that shit back. What's theater to you? What's this shit about? And he was talking about, oh, I've been wanting to do this for a while. And he's upbeat now. He's talking about this and that. But he just kind of feels like, oh, well, it don't pay the same and blah, 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 and yeah. I completely understand, just me being a multifaceted artist where I have a bunch of different mediums that I'm playing with at a time, especially when one is tied up in your finances, it's hard to even justify spending time and energy on other things. But I realized that what felt like random area of myself that I developed in added to my overall ability in all areas. Like me becoming a better communicator made me a better barber. Me becoming a better barber made me a better general entrepreneur. Me being a better entrepreneur, entrepreneurship is really just being creative financially. Ultimately, me being an artist made all of this shit better. I was telling him not like, oh, yo, stop being a barber. But it could just be you start branching off in a different direction. It don't even necessarily need to be you cut your schedule back and start doing acting like crazy. It could just be get around some actors. Build your clientele of people that are within the same interests as you. And then your interactions with them will be a lot more valuable than just you're getting money for a haircut. They're adding to the new version of yourself. When I was strictly I consider myself a STEM-minded person, it was hard for me to politic with artsy people. But then when I went through that season and I started picking a few here and there that just related to what I related to, over time I realized, oh, this is iron sharpening iron. And the more artsy people I get around, the more artsy I become and the more authentic I feel to myself. And now this whole time I'm realizing, oh damn, I've been an artist from the jump. It made me think back, even before engineering sparked my art, poetry had me. So it was going to be some kind of art. And it just, the one that popped off the most financially for me just happened to be barbering. But a few years ago, I felt stuck. I was making good money, but I don't care to just be a resource for haircuts for people. I care about having certain interactions that are going to grow me spiritually. And I realize that happens when I try to grow myself in a bunch of different areas, whether it's creatively, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, all that. It all ties together. It's all holistic. Better barbering is not about doing better haircuts per se. It's about becoming a better overall person, a better overall resource, so you can exchange more value with the people around you. But I'm talking about barbering a lot, but you can really apply this to any craft that you want. Whether it's basketball, wrapping cars, we learn the same lessons through different mediums. Ooh, this is okay getting long. But number 4 sign you're not supposed to be a barber. You're surrounding yourself with resistance. Anything that you allow to influence you is either providing assistance or resistance. With every goal that you have, there is going to be some kind of resistance in the world. Like, we need that. But if you're going out of your way to cultivate that resistance around you, that's a good sign that what you're claiming that you want to go to isn't really for you, or you don't want it as bad as you want it, or maybe just want it for different reasons. A few years ago when I was shooting for smaller goals, there was a lot of people around me that just don't believe what I'm doing, and they'll be adamant about that. They'll tell me to my face, oh, I don't like that you're doing that. I don't think you're going to do it. Da, 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 da. And everybody's going to have those kind of people around. And even in one season where someone seems supportive, you might grow too much for their comfort and they're going to be antagonistic in another season. But that's more a reflection of how they feel about themselves coming out towards what you're doing. But I had the most resistance around me when I had resistance internally. When I didn't figure out a specific path for me, it was so easy to have my ears open to people, like passerbys' perspectives. I cared about what somebody was saying on Instagram about it. Keep in mind, people doing better never have the time to hate. Everybody that said, oh, well, this is not about him dropping out, 2 times, keep in mind. I had twice the detractors about me dropping out. You know what I'm saying? 99% of them could not go through an engineering curriculum. Most of the people that had anything to say about the different pivots I made in my barber business couldn't do what I do on this level, couldn't hope to do what I do on this level. So they spend all their energy on the sidelines giving comments. But it's not about what they're saying, it's about what you're allowing and why. Be mindful of those reasons. Because think about it, every time that you had a goal that you had to sink or swim get done, if you had a crazy bill on your head, you didn't know where you were gonna get the money, but it was like, you knew, I have to get this or that's it, you rose to the occasion and you did that shit. Regardless of how everybody else felt. And you didn't care about how they felt in the heat of the moment because you were pulled by purpose in that very specific direction. If I don't feel that level of purpose, I'm always going to be susceptible to what people say or what I think people are saying, which is even worse. Because that's internal resistance that I'm projecting outwards. I'm assuming people want to see me fail, when most people really want to see you win. The people that want to quote unquote see you fail just don't like the feeling of failure in comparison because they're projecting their own thing. Everything is personal, but it's never about you. Winners want to see you win, losers want you to lose. Number 5 sign that you're not supposed to be a barber. You are barbering or cutting hair out of desperation. There's been a bunch of seasons where, shoot, I had a bill on my neck, I had to get to it, ain't no other option. But those are very short seasons. If you got into barbering from the jump and then continually have sustained, oh, I'm doing this to get out of survival, and that's strictly the reason that you get up and do it every day, you're not supposed to be a barber, or not supposed to be just a barber. The skills that you're using, you can rinse and repeat in a bunch of different areas. It just takes time and energy to build the infrastructure of the direction you want to go. Regardless of whatever level you're at and what level you're aspiring to, the path that you've been on to be a better barber or artist, entrepreneur, whatever, has made you a better person, a more capable person with stronger vision. It's not about cutting hair for money for the rest of your life. Like, it's never been about that shit. Even if people that love it and do it their whole lives, it's not even about the haircuts. Haircuts just happen when people sit down. It's about either the connection and the growth that happens in between people, or it could be something like the feeling of being able to give back. Some people don't charge money because they want to give back. Some people, they charge money, but they do their best to give the most value they possibly can in a human interaction. And that's one thing that I say is my biggest flex as a barber. It's not that how much money people pay me. It's the fact that everybody that sits in my chair tells me something that God was supposed to tell me. And just like how I feel like they're pouring into my life, making my life better, they feel the same way, because everybody has perspective that you don't have. Everybody can contribute a piece to your puzzle, regardless of how small. One corner piece of a puzzle can change your whole vision for how it goes together. Think about that shit. Overall, these signs are not super serious. They're more indicators that, like, you might be misaligned with where you're supposed to be going. But life is a bunch of over and under corrections. We're supposed to get misaligned so we get more aligned over time. That's the whole purpose of this. If y'all interested in talking to me or getting consultations, you would love my Patreon. As of this specific recording, I don't have anything up yet, but over time I will be posting more, let's say, I'm not gonna say behind the scenes content. I've realized that the things that have added to the quality of my life as a person as well as a barber have really been my the human interactions that I've had with my clients, with like-minded barbers, artists, entrepreneurs. Like, I mean, if people want to come to me and learn how to cut hair better, cool. But like past a certain point, that's not where the real value is. If you're a kind of person that's just interested in like the things I'm talking about, whether it's metaphysics, philosophy, all this whatever, that also just ties into my journey of being a barber, as well as, you know, artist, entrepreneur, all that jazz, go ahead and check out my Patreon, link in the description. You probably appreciate it. I really appreciate y'all watching. If you got any value, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, you know what I'm saying? If you know somebody who would appreciate this type of content too, go ahead and feel free to share. I really appreciate that. If you don't already follow me, you can go ahead and follow your boy on Instagram as well as TikTok at Cuts by Elvis, at Better Barbering. Thanks again. Till next time, craft over clout. I'm out.